मन चाकर राखो जी। गिरिधारी लाल मन चाकर राखो जी।
This is episode number 30. We have been so far talking about Gita and its teachings as a foundation. We have also, from our wisdom and wisdom of the saints, agreed that that is a right angle for us or a yardstick. We often do not know right and wrong, so we need to have something that has an absolute value. As a mariner who is directing his boat, he has a magnetic needle that always points north, and with that direction then he can navigate himself in whichever direction he wants to go. Similarly, if we always point our uh, problems towards Gita, look at Gita, examine Gita, whenever we have the problem, then we will have a direction, which direction to go. So Gita then certainly is worthy of our attention, because without it we would lose the direction in this ocean of confusion and running into several directions. Now we will be talking about Karma Yoga, as we said in our last episode. Slok number 39 begins where the discrimination faculty is ended, but it is not ended, but how we are going to use that for our benefit. Performance is one thing, knowing through intellect is another thing. Now we are going to perform, and performance alone is going to give us the joy. Talking about marriage, buying a car does not mean much until you actually buy the car, and until you actually marry, until you actually drive the car and enjoy the life, then only you know what it means. So now then we are going to talk about how to perform. ईशा ते अभिहिता सांख्ये बुद्धि योगे त्विमां शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसे. So far, Lord says, Arjun, I have talked to you about discrimination, yoga of knowledge, Sankhya. Sankhya Buddhi means intellectual understanding of discrimination between right and wrong. That is the first thing we need to know. If we don't know right and wrong, if we don't know north and south or east and west, we would have certain difficulty in traveling. So Lord has given us the needle, the direction. Now He says, listen to me about yoga. And yoga here means karma yoga, or performance, or actions, or acting, or doing it. So He says, now you listen to me about how to put in practice what I have already talked to you. So far you have been listening only. Now we will go and practice. Buddhya yukte ya partha karma bandham prasasi. If you will be established in performance, if you will give importance to performance and performing perfectly with expertise, knowing how to perform, anybody can perform, but the task may not be satisfactory, then it is no good. You can build a building, but one storm comes and it falls down, then there is no point in building it. It was not a task well performed. So a task well performed is what we are talking about. something that will have a meaning and hopefully eternal meaning. That is what we want. So when we talk about Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga, which is one and the same thing, that we need Buddhi, we need intellect in order to perform. So we cannot disassociate ourselves with Buddhi, because the first thing we need is Buddhi, whether why do we want to do this particular task, what benefit do I have, what benefits I will lose if I don't do it. All these things is called discrimination. And then after deciding, okay, now I know what I am going to gain or what I am going to lose or what price I have to pay and what benefits, then we proceed. Proceeding is Karma Yoga, and before that all the decision making theory that we use is Jnana Yoga. So Lord says, Buddhya yukta ya partha karma bandham prahasasi. If you will be established in this Karma Yoga, then you will be free from the bondage of karma. So that is a beautiful thing. The karma or actions we do can do two things. It can bind us and it can also release us from the bondage. So the karma, that it is the same karma that can bind us, and the same karma, if not properly done, it can not only bind us, but if it done properly, then it can free us from the bondage of karma. So this is what he is talking about, that all of us are in the bondage of karma. Karma comes, or the action or performance comes only when we have desires. So once we have desires, we are already in the bondage. And once we have desire, we want to fulfill the desire, so we are going to do something to fulfill the desire. The doing is karma. But the performance that will not bind us into or make a slave of us from the desire, that is called Karma Yoga. So that is what Lord is going to teach us. He is going to help us to do that, and we have to sincerely practice this spirituality. Other day it came to me that all of us, every person who is not sincerely practicing spirituality or path of love or path of action, yoga, who is not practicing sincerely spirituality to the best of his ability, without any excuses, is a potential felon or a terrorist or a sinner, as God has already said. Because ignorance is terror, ignorance is sin, and sin is ignorance. So when we think about sin, we think about terror, we think about this felon or problems, just think about one thing, ignorance. Because it is out of ignorance that we do things that cause us to do sin or felony or terror. So Hindu scriptures have not talked too much about sin or terror as much as talked about ignorance, that it is out of not knowing what is good for us, not knowing what is bad for us, that we do things that cause this sin and all those things. So that is one wonderful thing, because if it is ignorance, it can be always removed by knowledge. And that is what is the beauty about putting everything into this one basket of ignorance, because ignorance can be removed by knowledge. But if we brand somebody as an eternal sinner, then he is eternal sinner and doesn't know how to come out of it. It is not so. There is no sinner or no person who should think that he has no opportunity to come out of it, or that he is eternally damned because he did something he ought not to do. It is not so. We are all subject to errors. Only God is perfect. If we have done it even knowingly or unknowingly, if we have wisdom and we can do it right by correcting the situation, God has no problem with it. So always remember that we have an opportunity to turn our life for the betterment from day one, the minute we decide that. It is all within us, and it is our decision whether we want to improve our life. Ne ih abhikramanasha asti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapi yasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Slok 40 is a beautiful slok, beautiful advice. It says that in this path of Karma Yoga or performance, or trying to do or practice, even a little bit of good practice, if is done, there will be no loss. Even a little bit of religious practice, or as we had talked about family practices, husband and wife and children, if you recall last few episodes, if you start practicing a little bit, getting up little bit early, maybe 10 minutes, praying maybe 1 or 2 minutes, maybe trying to eat little bit less than we did yesterday, or we talk less or see television less, maybe 5 minutes less, at least we have turned the direction. So Lord says that if you start practicing a little bit, then you will certainly in this path not lose anything. Supposing we start building a structure or a house, and by the time it comes to roof we run out of money. Well, then we don't have money, we don't put on the roof, and a big storm or rain comes, the whole house is flooded, all our efforts are lost. All our money, energy, planning, everything lost because we did not complete it. But in spirituality it is not so. Whatever you have done is eternal, is going to stay with you. And that is what Lord says, that in this path a little bit of beginning will not revert back to you where it will cause you suffering or frustration that you did not receive the benefit of it. You are assured of the benefits of performing your duties, the way Gita says that. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya. Even a little bit of this dharma, even 10% of your savings to help the poor, a little bit of compassion for those who despise us, a little bit of thought of other people other than our own relatives and ourselves, all the time concern about our children, our wife, our husband, our father, our, like Dhritarashtra. A little bit of thought to think of others, that there are many people who are poorer than we are, then and we start do something about it, then Lord says you will be saved from a great fear. It will protect you from great terror, as it says, Mahato Bhayat. If we want to be saved or protected from great terror or fear, then I think we will have to follow this path as Lord is teaching us. There is no waste of unfinished attempt, because whatever we do, a brick by brick, it is nobody can remove this brick once we put in this building, because Lord is watching, and nobody can deceive Lord. So let's decide that I will start today. I do not know how much I can do or how much when I will finish, but get going. One of our biggest problem is starting. I have noticed some of the devotees, they never get started when we give them some homework, but once they get started, they find it easier and easier as they have started, because Lord watches that our habits are changing, we get the benefit of doing it, we get encouragement from it, and all that makes us to do even more. But if we don't start at all, there is no learning, no experience, no right and wrong, and even Lord cannot help us when you don't start. So we will have to start doing this karma yoga to improve our life, to move to spirituality. Next slok 41 says, Vyavasayatmika buddhi hi ekeya kurunandana bahusaka hi ananta cha buddhyoho vyavasayinam. In this path of action, there is only single buddhi. In other words, single determination. You must have only one goal. You cannot have two goals to travel, then you will not reach to anyone. Goal is always one, paths can be different. This is a very important thing. We can have different paths, different religions, no problem, but the goal must be same. Unfortunately, each one makes their own god or own goal, and these goals don't match, so we have several goals, and so we have several confusion. But if we all recognize that God is one, love is one, but Christian has one way of achieving love, Hindus have another way, Muslims have another way, Buddhists have another way, and even those atheists also sooner or later will find their own path of suffering and come to it. So God should be one, not our own God, the way we describe them, the way we like it, or the way we give name and form, but the way Gita is describing, then no matter what path we take, we have a good opportunity to arrive at our goal, and goal is love, and love is always one. Just like ocean is one, we have divided arbitrarily into 7 oceans. There is no boundary, no line God has given. It is human beings who says Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean. God says it is merely a sheet of water. Similarly, God says it is all a sheet of love. Whatever name you want to give, it is all arbitrary. It cannot be divided. Ocean is never divided. It is only continuous water throughout this world, and yet we identify that this is my ocean and this is your ocean, this is my water, this is my limits, this is your limits. I think one of the saints did say that God laughed at 2 occasions. God laughed wondering at our stupidity here on earth, and they were one when a doctor said to a patient when he operated on him, and he said, I have saved you. God laughed that this egotistic man thought that he has saved the person. And another time when 2 brothers were fighting and they divided the land saying, this is my land and this is your land, and they put a fence on it. Then God laughed that they will be buried in the same land they are talking about very soon. And yet they are fighting, this is my land and your land, just like Dhritarashtra says, this is my kingdom or my children and your children, and you will see 40 lakhs of people or 4 million people will be massacred. And yet we don't give up this my land and your land, my money and your money, my religion and your religion, my country and your country. So this ignorance is prevailing, and until we can overcome, we will have a problem. So when we say Vyavasatmaka Buddhi, our intellect or our mind should be single-minded, as we say. Whatever you decide to do, pay attention to that. We have often said it. If you are cooking, pay attention to cooking. If you are traveling, pay attention to traveling. If you are traveling towards God, then pay attention and don't keep wavering your path. If you are going to LA, then keep your sign straight and direction straight so that you can go there rather than end up in New York. So, those who have determined their life in this life, their determination will be one-pointed if they want to go to God. If you don't want to go to God, there is no way you will have a one-pointed determination. Because in Prakriti, it is built in where you cannot focus on anything. By the time you determine you want something, that thing has already changed. So it is not the same thing you want. Also, you also yourself have changed. So when both the things are changing, you and the things you desire, how can there be a one-pointed determination? So one thing, in Prakriti, in world, you cannot focus, because by the time you look at a thing, the thing has changed or moved. We have changed and moved. So when we talk about single determination, we are only talking about God, we are only talking about love that can be focused, that can be single-minded determination, because it stays stable, it does not move, does not change. So when Lord says single-minded determination, it cannot be in money or in the worldly things or anything in the world, no matter what you are doing, even if you think you are doing good, it is still changing and you cannot focus on it. This is the difficulty. So we will have to learn what to do with it. A constantly changing thing, how to use that constant change into a fixed goal, which is self-realization. So here then, the people who are wise have one determination, and that determination, of course, is God and not making money or becoming famous. There has to be only one determination, God. Any other determination is no determination at all. So we may use whatever word we use, but God alone can be the one-pointed determination. Everything else will be remaining undecided, because our mind will be split into many directions in many branches. So the foolish people have their mind like a tree, too many branches, and the branches become weak, and big storm comes and they break down. If you will see the tree that has strong branches or thirdness, okay, what is trunk? If the trunk is strong, it will not break. But if you have millions of branches, then they can be easily broken. Similarly, too many thoughts, too many branching out of our desires, innumerable desires weakens us, and gradually we will be destroyed by the storms or the desires. So here then Lord is talking to us. Try to focus on God and God alone, because you cannot focus on anything else anyway. Anytime you focus on anything else, then you are not a person who is organized or who have any goal, and therefore you will not be happy, nor you can make anybody else happy. Therefore, God has made this world, this Maya, in such a way that it can only help us negatively. In other words, we do not count on it, but we make use of it, temporary use of it, to go to the permanent goal. That is possible, of course. So, I think that it is amazing. God made the world, which is quite contradictory to what He is, and yet in spite of being contradictory, it is useful that we can achieve the permanent through the use or negation of impermanent. We should not stick ourselves to impermanent, because that will not give us the peace we are looking for. And yet we do it all the time. The next three slokas are talking about rituals. And it is the ritual, this whole world is a ritual in a sense. And so we must learn from these rituals how to either use them to our advantage, or the rituals will be to our great disadvantage and our life will be wiped out. So let us look at what Lord has said the first time. He is telling what we have been talking to these Dharma Gurus, how they are deceiving, how they are thinking, how they talk to the followers. He has said all these rituals in these three slokas, slok number 42, 43, 44. This is the first time he says, beware the buyer, that this is going on, this is worthless, and you will be hearing all the time. We are hearing all the time in the temples, in the lectures, whether it's a Bhagavad Katha or a Gita Katha or a Ramayana Katha. It does not matter. These rituals are so inlaid in that we are being deceived. Even the person who talks is being deceived. He doesn't know. And of course the listeners are also deceived. So let's pay attention to these three slokas, which is a great warning that rituals must be understood properly and used properly, so that we can come out of it rather than go deeper and deeper. And the best way to use ritual is to abandon them. That is the best thing you can do. But once you go into the rituals, it will be very difficult to come out of it. It will be a lot of suffering before we will understand that. Same thing is with the world. The best way to use the world is to go beyond the desire, not to desire anything, and then you are done with. So it is the same thing. The best thing is to avoid the rituals if you really want to benefit from the ritual. So that is the biggest benefit. There is no other benefit than to ultimately come to a conclusion that this ritual didn't give me anything in my life. I spent life after life, and finally I came to this conclusion, which is what Gita is. Gita is a conclusion after millions of experiences we have gone through, and what we don't want or what did not work towards our goal or did not help us to achieve peace and love, then whatever experience is put down into the slokas. Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipaschitaha vedavadartaha partha nanyat asti tivadinaha कामात्मन स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फलप्रदाम क्रिया विशेष बहुलाम भोगैश्वर्य गतिम प्रति भोगैश्वर्य प्रसक्तानाम तया अपहृत चेतसाम व्यवसायत्मका बुद्धि समाधौ न विधीयते. What a beautiful slok. When I first time read this slok, it just shocked me that we knew so little and of the warning that God has given us. These are the sloks and very important sloks, slok 42, 43 and 44, chapter 2. Let us look at it what he says. He says, O Parth, there is no set determination formed in the minds of those that are deeply attached to pleasure and power, and whose discrimination is stolen away by the flowery words of the unwise, who are full of desires and look upon heaven as their highest goal, and who, taking pleasure in the sweet talks of the Vedas, declare that there is nothing else than these rituals. Ritual is all you need to do. There is nothing beyond that. Their flowery words are exuberant with various specific rites as the means to pleasure and power, and are the causes of new births as the result of their works performed because of the desires. So these are called havans. This is what he is talking about, the gurus who speak flowery words, they praise you, they lead you into these havans, what we call sometimes priti bhojan or chappan bhog, all these things that are created for us, things we love. This is what God is warning us, that this is not what we need. These are only flowery words. They might promise that you will go to heaven, but there is no heaven, and we are just nurturing one ignorance, nurturing another ignorance. So we should not go by the flowery words, the sweet words. Anytime somebody praises you, be sure that there might be something that he needs from you. I think the best thing is neither to praise nor to criticize, and let things happen the way they do, and observe the happenings rather than the talk. So here the dharma gurus and the leaders who have no discrimination at all, who knows how to speak sweet languages, and who think only of heaven and pleasures, these of the Vedas, that is the rituals, I think that there is a great warning. We must stay away from it. Uh, Lord has said that there is no samadhi in it, there is no joy in it. It is like children playing with the toys, and the ignorant trying to teach other ignorance, and that is not going to help us anyway. So even the Katha Upanishad had said, in the Katha Upanishad it says, Avidyayam antare vartamanaha swayam dhira panditam manyamanaha dandamyamana paryanti mudha andhena eva niyamana yathanda. Fools dwelling in the very midst of ignorance, yet vainly fancying themselves to be wise and learned, go round and round and round, staggering to and fro like blind men leading the blind. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.